Hi students, welcome to FICO Academy online classes. Today we can continue a preposition which we started in the last class, and today's preposition is, the first preposition which we want to study today is for. And where we can use the preposition for, and in fact we studied the preposition for or since along with the present perfect continuous. For shows a long period of time and since shows a point in time. We already studied the application of for and since. So here for shows a particular period of time, a particular period of time, a particular period of time, and it also shows possession. You can use the preposition for to show two things. One is which expresses a long period of time, I mean a particular period of time, and another thing is that it also expresses a possession. So I shall give you some examples. I lived in Madras. I lived in Chennai. I lived in Chennai for 5 years. For 5 years. So now it is quite simple. Here the preposition for shows a particular period of time. I lived in Chennai for 5 years. And one more example, this letter is for you. This letter is for you. This letter is for you. And here the preposition for which expresses the possession. You can use the preposition for to express a particular period of time, and the second thing to show possession. And I gave you two examples. I lived in Chennai for 5 years, and here which expresses a particular period of time, and in the second example this letter is for you. Here for expresses possession. And you can use this same for to express direction, denotes direction, denotes direction. Okay, denotes direction. I will leave for Pune today. I will leave for Pune today. And here the preposition for shows the direction. Now you can use preposition for to express three things. One is a particular period of time, and the second thing is a possession, and the third one to express a direction. And the next preposition before. Next one before, where you can use before. And you are quite familiar with the application of the preposition before, which means to show earlier than, to show earlier than, to show earlier than, before, which means to show earlier than. So I give you one example. You must finish this work. You must finish this work. You must finish this work. Dash 5 years. You must finish this work dash 5 years. I told you before means earlier than, which expresses to show earlier than, and I give you one example, you must finish this work dash 5 years. So the answer is simple, you must finish this work before 5 years. And must is a modal auxiliary verb, remember that, and which expresses the compulsion. We use the auxiliary verb must to show the compulsion. For example, you must wear your uniform. You must bring your textbook in the class. So must, which expresses compulsion. And come to the point, now we study the use of before, the preposition before, which means to show earlier than. And I gave you one example, you must finish this work before 5 years. And it means, it has another meaning, that is stands for in front of. In front of. Okay, the preposition before has another meaning, that is in front of. Example, the garage is dash the road. The garage is dash the road. And here you can use before. The answer is the garage is before the road. Before here means in front of. And one more example, the thief was brought dash the judge. Dash the judge. The thief was brought dash the judge. It means in front of. So you can write the preposition before. The thief was brought before the judge. Now you can understand, you can use the preposition before to express two things. What are the two things? One is to show earlier than. To show earlier than, that is the first meaning. And before has another meaning, that is in front of. And I told you the example, the garage is in front of the road. In front of the road. In front of means before the road. The garage is before the road. The thief was brought dash the judge. Before the judge. Okay, next one, behind. Next preposition, behind. And it is the opposite of before. Behind. It is the opposite of before. And very simple. The application of behind, very simple. It means at the back of. Behind means at the back of. Behind means at the back of. Very simple. One example. The sun went dash a cloud. The sun went dash a cloud. Behind means at the back of. I already told you. The sun went dash a cloud. Now the answer is simple. The sun went behind a cloud. The sun went behind a cloud. One more example. The dog ran dash me. So you can write behind me. The dog ran behind me. I think you don't need any further explanation for the use of the preposition behind. The meaning is quite simple. Everybody know very well the meaning of behind, that is at the back of. And I gave you two examples. The sun went behind a cloud. And another example, the dog ran behind me. Next one, between. That is also a symbol, between. Between. Okay, between. And where you can use between? My students, there is a lot of difference between the application of between and among. Between and among, they are prepositions. And where you can use these two prepositions? You can use between to express, involves two persons or things. Between involves two persons or things. Two persons or things. You can use between where? Two persons or things. One example, the train runs dash Mumbai and Delhi. See the example. The train runs dash Mumbai and Delhi. And here Mumbai and Delhi names of two countries. You can use between Mumbai and Delhi. Okay, you can use between, which expresses the case between two persons or things. Now the example, the train runs between Mumbai and Delhi, because we specially mention the name of two countries, Mumbai and Delhi, so that you can use between. And another example, the marriage is dash 10 a.m. and 11 a.m. The marriage is between 10 a.m. and 11 a.m. So you don't write the marriage is between 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. That is false. And some of the students may write this type of sentence, the marriage is between 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. That is wrong. You can write only the marriage is between 10 a.m. and 11 a.m. I mean, two times are mentioned here, 10 a.m. and 11 a.m. Only two times. Then you can write the preposition between. The marriage is between 10 a.m. and 11 a.m. And the next important preposition is among. Okay. Where you can use among? We use among to show more than two persons or things. More than two persons or things. More than two persons or things. If two persons or things, you can use between. Remember it. If two persons or things are there, you can use between. And if we refer more than two persons or things, we can use among. Okay. And I give you one example. There is no unity. There is no unity dash the leaders. There is no unity dash the leaders. Here leaders are used, not one person, not two persons, more than two persons. We don't know how many persons are there referred as leaders. So more than two persons. There is no unity dash the leaders. More number of people are here. So you can write among. There is no unity among the leaders. Do you understand the difference between and among? Between involves two persons or things. Among involves more than two. Among involves more than two. So the best example is there is no unity among the leaders. And another one, he is the eldest. He is the eldest among the team members. Among the team members. Among the team members. And there is a mistake here. He is the eldest among the team members. Eldest and oldest. Where you can use eldest and oldest? I mean, if you compare the age with your family members, if we compare the age with your own family members, you can use elder, eldest. And if you compare the age with the people of outside, there you can use the oldest. And here the sentence is, he is the oldest among the team members. He is the oldest among the team members. So remember, elder and older. Elder means you refer the age with your own family members, so that there you can use the elder. And if you refer your age with others, I mean outside of your family, then there you can use older. And here team members, and we don't know how many team members are there. More than two numbers. If only two numbers, we can use between, and here team members are used, so more than two numbers, so that you can write among. He is the oldest among the team members. Okay, next preposition, amongst. And you will be confused with the preposition amongst. A-M-O-N-G-S-T. Amongst. Okay. Now we already studied the use of the preposition between and among. I told you between, which involves two persons or things, and among, which involves more than two. And where you can use amongst, that is something special. Where you can use the preposition amongst. It is used with more than two persons. Like among. It is used with more than two persons or things. But there is one condition before a word which starts with a vowel letter. Before a word which starts with a vowel letter. One example, divide the sweets. Divide the sweets. Divide the sweets. Dash us. Divide the sweets dash us. And you know, two prepositions are given here, among and amongst. The question is, divide the Swedes dash us. Two prepositions are given here, among or amongst. Which preposition you can use? Among, I told you, more than two persons or things. If two persons or two things, you can use between. If more than two persons or things, you can use among. But where you can use amongst? The same condition, more than two persons or two things. But the condition is that where the vowel letter starts, you can use amongst before the vowel letter starts. And here us, U is a vowel letter. U is a vowel letter, so you can write amongst. Okay, you got the idea? Divide the Swedes amongst us. Why we used amongst? The reason is that here the next word started with a vowel letter. U is a vowel letter, so that you can use amongst before this word. And I tell you once more, the difference between among and amongst. Among means it involves more than two persons or more than two things. And amongst, that is the same condition, more than two persons or more than two things. But you can use amongst before a vowel letter starts. And here what happened? Us is the word and U is a vowel letter, so you must write or you must use amongst here. So the answer is divide the Swedes amongst us. Okay, next one, since. You already learned the application of since. Since. While you studied present perfect continuous, you learned the use of since and for also. And where you can use since, which expresses a point of time. A point of time. Since shows a point of time, not a long period of time. If it is a long period of time, you can use for, and if it is a point in time, you can use since. For example, since 1985. You know, 1985 is a point in time, so that you can write since 1985. And since January. Why? January is a point of time, a particular point of time, since January, since February, since March, etc. And since Monday. So shortly speaking, you can use a since before the name of months and before the name of days. You understand? You can use a since before the name of months and before the name of days. And since 10 o'clock, while you refer a particular time, while you indicate particular time, while you mention a particular time, you can use since while you mention the year, while you mention the name of months, while you mention the names of days, and while you mention the time. And one more example, while you use the word last, last month, last week, do you understand? And if we use a month, you can write only for a month, because month is a long period of time. A month is a long period of time, so you must use for a month. Similarly, week, a long period of time, so you can write for a week. But we specially mention the month by using the word last. Last month, I mean a particular time. Last week, specially mention a particular week by the word last. So there you can use a since. Now it is quite simple where you can use a since while you refer the year, while you refer the names of months, names of days, then time, and before the word last. One example, he has been absent. He has been absent dash last week. He has been absent dash last week. Listen, my friends, here the word last is used. Last week. That means we specially mention a particular week. So you can use since. Otherwise, you can use a for. If the word last is not used in this sentence, you can use a for. But here the word last is used, so that you can write since. He has been absent since last week. And one more example, Rohing has been working in Infosys since 1995. See the example. Rohit has been working in Infosys since 1995. Why we used since in this place? Because an year is mentioned 1995. So before the year you have to use a since. So you must understand this example. You can use a since before the year, before the name of months, before the name of days, before the time, before the word last. Okay, next one, beside. Next example. Beside. And the word beside has a similar word. We can study together. That is a besides. B-E-S-I-D-E-S. One is beside and the other is besides. B-E-S-I-D-E-S, besides. You will be confused. What is the difference between these two words, beside and besides? Beside means by the side of. By the side of. And besides means in addition to. In addition to. Do you understand the meaning of these two words? and you will be confused. Besides a similar word of beside, but it has another meaning, and some students, you know, they think that besides is the verb in simple present tense, because there is a condition in simple present tense. If the subject is singular, we should add s or es or ies along with the main verb. Some students feel such a confusion. So it is not a verb, it is a preposition. Beside and besides, they are prepositions, and both of them have different meanings. Beside means by the side of, I mean near, and besides means in addition to. And I shall give you some examples. I sat down. I sat down. Dash my wife. I sat down dash my wife. Very simple. You can use beside. Beside means by the side of. By the side of means near. So I sat down beside my wife. And I shall give you another example for besides. Dash the students. Dash the students. Their parents were also present. Their parents were also present. See the second example for besides. Dash the students, their parents were also present. First you should read the sentence properly and understand the meaning. Dash the students, their parents were also present. I mean their parents were also there and students were also there. You understand? Students were also there and their parents were also there. So you can write besides. Besides the students, I mean in addition to the students. In addition to the students, their parents were also present. So I gave you two examples. One for beside and another one for besides. And shortly speaking, beside means by the side of and besides means in addition to. Okay, don't be confused. Against, where you can use the preposition against. So which shows pressure. You can use a preposition. You can use the preposition against to show pressure. One example. She cleaned the edge of her knife. The edge of her knife. Dash the plate. She cleaned the edge of her knife, dash the plate. You know, generally some mothers, while they clean the fish or something, before that they would take the knife and sharpen the knife by rubbing on the plate. So she cleaned the edge of her knife against the plate. She cleaned the edge of her knife against the plate. And one more example. He leaned. He leaned dash a tree. He leaned dash a tree. So he leaned against a tree. Do you know the meaning of the word leaned? L-E-A-R L-E-A-N-E-D, leaned. Leaned means chayuga. He leaned against a tree. So, we studied the preposition against, which shows pressure, and I gave you 2 examples. She cleaned the edge of her knife against the plate, and the second example is he leaned against a tree. And the next one, ago. Ago. This is number 22, ago, where you can use the preposition ago, which refer past. Everybody knows. You can use the preposition ago to refer past. One example, Sanju lived here. Sanju lived here 10 years dash 10 years ago. Sanju lived here 10 years ago. Very simple, ago, which shows past. And next one, number 23, about. About, which shows nearness. The preposition about shows nearness. Okay, you can easily understand by 1 or 2 examples. His father is dash to retire. His father is dash to retire. I told you, you can use the preposition about to show nearness. So, his father is about to retire. You know, next month or in the next week. That is about to. The bus was about to move. You know, when I went to the bus stop, the bus was about to move. That means, you know, it shows the moment, nearness, about to move. The bus was about to move. And here, nearness, about, the preposition about, which means nearness. And you just remember this example, his father is about to retire. Next one, the book is dash Indian history. Indian history. And here about means related to. The book is about Indian history. See, the meaning is changed. Earlier, it has got the meaning of nearness. Now, it has got another meaning that is related. The book is about Indian history. And one more example, Jidin's house. Jidin's house is dash 2 kilometers. Very simple. You can use about. Jidin's house is about 2 kilometers. That means approximately. You can use about to show for the word approximately. Jidin's house is about 2 kilometers. So, you can write about to show 3 things. One is nearness, and the second example that is related to, and approximation. Okay, three meanings are there. And next one, along. Along, that is the next preposition. Along. Along means stands for in the same line. Stands for in the same line. Stands for in the same line. Okay, one example. The current passes. The current passes dash the wire here. The current passes dash the wire here. So, see the meaning, along, which means in the same line. In the same line, that is the meaning of the preposition along. So, the current passes along the wire here. Next one, he walks dash the road. He walks along the road. He walks along the road. So, there are several examples. Now, I give you only 2 examples. Only 2. Just understand, you can use the preposition along to give the meaning in the same line. In the same line, that is the meaning. And I gave you 2 examples. The current passes along the wire here, and another example, he walks along the road. And next one, after, where you can use after. Very simple, everyone knows that, the preposition after, A-F-T-E-R, after. It is the 25th one, after, which refers to sequence. The preposition after refers to sequence. One example, she came dash me, see after me. She came dash me, she came after me. I mean, refers to sequence. You know sequence. Sequence means one by one, followed by. Sequence means followed by. She came after me. Another example, we shall go for a walk. We shall go for a walk. We shall go for a walk after breakfast. After breakfast. Not breakfast. And we Malayalis, you know, we use the word breakfast because we are very busy people. That's why we use the breakfast. Breakfast. We shall go for a walk after breakfast. So, I gave you 2 examples. I told you the preposition after, which refers sequence. Sequence means followed by one, after. And next one, later. L-A-T-E-R. And there is another one, later. Do you know that, later? L-A-T-T-E-R. What is the difference between later and later? Later means the second one. And the opposite is a former. F-O-R-M-E-R, former means the first one. F-O-R-M-E-R, former is the first one. Later, L-A-T-T-R, later means the second one. And here the preposition later, L-A-T-R, later, and where we can use the preposition later, which shows a future time. A future time. One example, you are familiar with the use of later. I will call you later. See, very simple. I will call you later. then you can understand the meaning of the word later. I will call you later. Later means after some time. I mean in future. Next one, across. Number 27, across. Across means from one side. From one side. In fact, we know the meaning of the word across, but we don't know how can we express the word in English. The meaning is across means from one side. From one side, that is across. One example, she ran across the field. She ran across the field. You know, you can get a clear picture in your mind. She ran across the field. One more example. The bridge is built. The bridge is built. Dash the river. The bridge is built dash the river. That is also simple. The answer is across. The bridge is built across the river. So listen, across, which means from one side, and I gave you two examples. She ran across the field, and the next one, the bridge is built across the river. And next one, beyond. Beyond, B-E-Y-O-N-T, beyond. Beyond. Do you know the meaning of the word beyond? In Malayalam it is called Adinumapparam. That is the proper Malayalam word for beyond. And in English, on the farther side of. On the farther side of. Okay, farther, not further. Further means additional. Here it is farther, F-A-R-T-H-E-R, on the farther side of, beyond. One example, this is dash his power. This is dash his power. That means, you know, he can't do that. He can't do that, but he used his energy, but he used all his talent, and he did. So you can write, this is beyond his power, which means on the farther side of. One more example, love is dash all human control. Okay, you will get the correct answer because the sentence is very good. Love is dash all human control. And can you control love? We can't control. So the answer is beyond. Love is beyond all human control. Okay. The next one, above. And you will be confused. Above, under, below, over, beneath. And you will be more confused by these prepositions. Now we can study above, where you can use the preposition above. Above means higher than. Above means higher than. And in order to understand these prepositions, I mean above, under, below, over, you want to by heart at least one or two examples. Otherwise, you will be confused in the examination hall. I told you above means higher than. And one example, the sun rose. The sun rose dash the horizon. The sun rose dash the horizon. Above, I told you higher than, top. So the answer is above the horizon. We were flying. We were flying dash the clouds. We were flying dash the clouds. We were flying above the clouds. Above means higher than. One more example, the sky is above us. The sky is above us. So what kind of examples I have given you? Everything is connected with the sky. Not on the ground, not on the floor. Everything is connected with the sky. I mean higher than. That you should remember. You know, in the examination hall, you should remember that above means higher than. Generally, you would get the examples connected with the sky. So, see the first example, the sun rose above the horizon. You know, that is also connected with the sky. Second example, we were flying dash the clouds, above the clouds. Third example, the sky is above us. Okay. Next one, under. That is very simple, under. Where you can use the preposition under. Above we learned, that is higher than. Under. Where you can use under? It is used for vertically below. Vertically below. The preposition under is used to show vertically below. For example, it is shady. It is shady dash the trees. It is shady dash the trees. Under the trees. You just imagine a tree, a huge tree, and vertically below. You know, we are sitting under the tree, under the table. Some examples. Under the table, under the tree. So that means that you know, the ball is under the chair. The ball is under the table. The ball is under the chair. So what does it mean? Vertically below. Vertically below. Above means higher than, and the opposite is under, that is vertically below. Okay, under. One more example, your shoes are kept dash the table, dash the table. Your shoes are kept dash the table. So very simple, vertically below, under the table. So remember, above means generally above, which is associated with the top level, higher than. You will get the questions associated with the sky, above. Under means vertically below. Remember, under the table. The cat is sitting under the table. There is a cat under the table. That means vertically below. And we were sitting under the tree, vertically below. Okay, don't forget that. And we have a few more prepositions, and we can take those things in the next class. And after that, there is another interesting topic to be discussed in our class, that is close sentence. And thank you so much for listening my class. We can continue in the next class. Okay, see you.
5Co Academy, first floor, PV Complex, Civil Line Road, West Fort, Thrissur. Phone 9946 99460, 9946 99461.